Doing an update on this drill really came at the perfect time because I had a question about how I work on getting a better finish on the backside of my barrel and keeping a horse from bowing out. I wanted to work on Stormy's finish on the barrels since I am working on going one-handed, so I'm wanting her to be able to do more on her own. This is a drill that I work on if I want to work on a few different things. It's the one that I showed when I had the question about what to do with a horse that is shouldering. So this is the full version of that drill if you watched that video. And I also like to do this drill, like I said, if I'm working on getting a better finish on my barrel. So I start off by just squaring the arena. So I'm going straight across the arena, straight down the walls and straight across again. And I'm asking her to make a square in the corners. So what I'm looking for is her to go straight to the wall and then pick up the rib cage, get that hind inside hock up underneath her and really shift her weight onto that hind end and be light on her front end and bring the front end around. Once we have squared the arena in both directions, I go and start adding circles into the corners and then putting the square right there on the finish of that circle. So that's going to translate into the finish of my barrel or the square of my barrel. If you've watched some of my videos, you'll hear me talk about a square on the barrel. So what I'm looking for is them to make this move on the back side to leave the barrel to go to the next one. So as you can see, it is pretty much exactly what you need them to do on the pattern. They need to make a straight line to their barrel turn right here, and they need to make the full turn and then a really strong finish, getting that hind end up underneath them, that rib cage up and engaged and really light on the front end. So I go through and do 4 corners trotting to the right, and if she wasn't making nice circles and wasn't finishing the barrel or the circle nice, I would go around again and do another 2 more circles in the corners or another full set, depending on how she works, before I switch directions and do it all trotting to the left again. And because I was really wanting to work on my finish, I am really exaggerating what I'm doing to make her make that move on that backside. You can really start to see her get that weight shift and really bring that front end around and get that nice lateral movement. So like I said, I'm really over exaggerating what I'm doing to get her to make that move so that we can really work on getting it. So you can see there, I really move my hips over to make that front end come over, and I really help her with both reins to get that shoulder movement. She already knows how to get her body into position to make the circle, so I'm not having to get her into that position too soon. I can just come right across into the arena, pick up my inside rein, and she gets her body in position to make that turn. We just needed to work on the finish, so that's where I'm really helping her. You can really see I sit down, bring my hips around, and really help her bring that front end around there. And then now we're going to come in and I'm going to ask her to lope, and I'm going to start over again by just squaring the arena. So I'm working on that finish before I add in the circles. So I go around to the right and I square all 4 corners, and then I switch directions and I square all 4 corners at a lope to the left again, and then I switch directions again, and then I'm going to add in the circles to the right and switch directions again and add the circles to the left. I like these transitions on the walls because it's something that helps them switch their leads on the pattern. It's one of the things that I do to help get that lead change coming out of the first barrel. So what I'm doing with that transition is I am treating it as a barrel turn. I am getting her body into position to come into the barrel, and so I'm moving her out and away. I'm thinking of where the barrel would be in my imagination, and I'm making my pocket and I'm starting the turn, and then I'm letting the wall help me finish and again get that square and that weight shift onto the hind end for her to finish the barrel really strong. So now we have come around and I'm going to start my circles to the right at a lope here. And same thing, I am really focusing on getting that finish on the back side and helping her as much as I can to really reinforce that move. And I was really happy with how I could feel her making those shifts. She stumbled a little bit there, but she's trying really hard, so I'm not going to pick on her for that, because I'm really feeling her load up and try and load up on that hind end and really power out of that barrel. And if you want to go and watch, I will post what my barrel work looked like the next day after doing this drill. She understood the assignment. So now we go through and do the same thing to the left. And if they are doing this drill correctly and really engaging their body and using themselves how I'm wanting to, it is tough work for them. So when you are doing it, you really have to pay attention to how your horse is feeling and if they're getting tired. If they're getting too tired to hold their body in position, then you need to adjust your training session. I always want them to, end on a good note, not get frustrated. So if they're too tired to actually do what you're asking, then I will bump out my circles or go back to a trot so that I can finish doing it correctly. Every ride and every horse is different, so you really have to be reading your horse and reading your ride. Thanks for watching.